on vinyl community? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Alice Cooper colored vinyl reissues. Now, in recent years, Rhino Records has went ahead and re-released the Alice Cooper catalog back onto vinyl. In particular, it's the Warner Brothers period from 1969 to the early 80s. And they've been putting them out in random spurts to coincide with certain vinyl campaigns that Rhino offers, such as Rocktober, Start Your Ear Off Right, and Back to the 80s, where Rhino will take artists that are on their roster and put their stuff back onto vinyl and market it as either being limited edition, colored vinyl, or simply black vinyl. And it's a really great way to put some stuff back onto the vinyl market in terms of reissues. And in general, I usually enjoy these campaigns when they come around. For example, Rocktober comes in October, of course. Start Your Ear Off Right comes in January. And I'm always excited to see what stuff Rhino decides to put back out on the vinyl market. And it's generally good product in terms of the extent of how they replicate the original album artwork, the color of the vinyl they use, the way it's pressed, mastered, and whatnot. It is generally very good, at least in my experience, so I give it 2 thumbs up. And Rhino really kicked off the Alice Cooper stuff on a very high note. This first reissue came out as part of Rocktober 2016, and that is the classic Billion Dollar Babies. This is perhaps the go-to Alice Cooper album in terms of like the very early stuff. This is an amazing reissue, which replicates the artwork perfectly, such as the Billion Dollar Bill, which is featured in the album. And then you also get the printed inner sleeve, which has a picture of the original band there. And then you have the lyrics on the flip side. And then you also have these little photo cards, which you can actually like punch out and tear out. And if you do so, you actually see, I don't know if you can really catch it on camera, but there's the credits to the album right in the middle. So like once these little photo cards are out, you can actually see the credits. I decided to keep mine intact simply for value sake. And this one was pressed on a very nice piece of green marbled vinyl. So it's mainly green, and you have like flecks of white and flecks of black. This is a gorgeous looking record. And actually, this particular reissue is a repress because Rhino did a black vinyl reissue of this back, I believe, in the early 2010s. And when I went to see what the dead wax etchings were on Discogs, it matched up this particular reissue. So they put that version back out. And from what I read, it was highly reputable because it was mastered by Chris Bellman, and they used the original tapes, which is exactly what this version does. And yeah, what a way to start off putting these albums back onto vinyl in terms of the Alice Cooper stuff. This is fantastic, and this is limited to 3,000. And I can understand why this particular version goes for what it goes for, because it is the go-to album, and with how much attention to care and detail this album in terms of the packaging and everything, I can see why it goes for so much. So this is a fantastic reissue. And then a year later, Rocktober 2017, we got a reissue of Love It to Death. This is like the major label debut from the band, the first album on Warner Brothers. Has the gatefold sleeve here. And this one is limited to 6,500 copies. And this is pressed. It's marketed as like marbled black and white vinyl, but the way I see it, it's kind of more so white vinyl with like black, flecks in there, which looks really nice. And also, I must say, this comes in a very nice heavy-duty cardstock kind of sleeve. It just really, really feels of quality. It is amazing. And then we have the debut album from the original Alice Cooper band. This is Pretty's For You. Comes on the same kind of heavy-duty sleeve. There is a gatefold, which has pictures of the individual band members. This one is limited to 6,000 copies, and this is pressed on a nice piece of solid red vinyl right there, which looks great. And man, this is a wild album to listen to. This is truly off-the-wall stuff. This was when the band was on Straight Records, which was run by Frank Zappa. So the Zappa stuff on his label is just out there. But it was kind of like a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. So technically it's still Warner Brothers, but it was on the Straight label. And then we have a crazy gap in terms of timeline. Then we got a reissue of Special Forces. This came out back in 1981. This was Alice trying to go a little bit more in the punk kind of new wave sort of direction. And as you can see on the cover, he really reinvented the Alice character. Kind of did like the military kind of outfit. This is a very underrated album too, and just I definitely would recommend it if you're willing to see like what lies in terms of like the deep cut Alice Cooper stuff. And this one is limited to 5,200, and this is pressed on a beautiful piece of blue vinyl, which looks great. And then up next, we got the Start Your Ear Off Right campaign for 2018. Right off the bat, we have the first proper solo album from Alice. This is Welcome to My Nightmare. Fantastic record. Comes with the printed inner sleeve here. And this one was limited to 6,200 copies. And this is pressed on purple vinyl. Has the Atlantic Records label, which was interesting. I think it was just a one-album deal with Atlantic, which is what this album was done on. From a distance, it looks like black vinyl, but if you really look at it, you know, up close, and I was trying to get the right angle so you can tell that it was purple. Really fantastic stuff. And then we get to the rabbit hole of these other two albums that reissued. I've talked about this before on my channel for you longtime viewers and subscribers, but they also went ahead and reissued Killer and Easy Action. Now, like I've said, look, Rhino puts out very good product, and I'm pleased with it. But in terms of these two, this was perhaps maybe the biggest cock-up I've ever seen in terms of vinyl releases in general. So when these came out at first, those that bought Killer actually received Easy Action with the Killer labels and the colored vinyl and everything. And then those that bought Easy Action got Killer instead with the Easy Action labels and the colored vinyl. So they actually swapped the pressing plates to press the records, and it was a whole cock up. And I don't know if it was an intentional gimmick to make it sort of like a niche kind of thing, or it was just purely the pressing plant's fault for getting these lacquers swapped up. So I had actually pre-ordered Killer. I didn't pre-order Easy Action. I was going to wait on that one. And I was reading on forums that there was a major pressing defect, and I'm like, okay, let's see what it's all about. So I went ahead and got this. I opened it up, put it on the turntable, and then all of a sudden I hear the introduction to Mr. and Misdemeanor. I'm like, okay. I purchased this off of Bull Moose, and they actually went ahead and sent me an email saying, hey, we got a notice on a pressing defect, you know, return it, you know, for a full refund. And I'm like, all right, perfect, sounds good. And then I reached out to Rhino to see if they were going to do fixed copies and, you know, pretty much get rid of the entire faulty pressings. And they're like, yeah, and we'll actually send it to you when it's all ready. So when these were ready, they fixed these two albums up for an event called Record Store Crawl. I don't know if it was solely Rhino that was running this, but I believe stuff that was under the Rhino kind of umbrella, they put out some reissues of stuff on the same colored vinyl as they were marketed for the Start Your Ear Off Right campaign. But these were limited to 2,000 copies, as opposed to the Start Your Ear Off Right stuff, which this one was limited to 5,200, and then this one was 4,600. So when I received the fixed version of Killer in the mail, I had stated in the email that I only bought Killer, but I also got this. Now this right here, this copy of Easy Action, is the fixed version that came out for Record Store Crawl. But I noticed something interesting because I received a copy of Killer, and it had the Start Your Ear Off Right sticker on the shrink wrap. Open it up, and sure enough, it was another faulty copy. Contacted Rhino again, said, hey, I don't know if there was a mix-up at your warehouse, received another bad copy, and they're like, all right, we'll send you another one. And I'm like, all right, they're already sending me, free vinyl with no charge, no swapping, anything. Received that, another faulty copy. And then I'm just like, I don't want to give off the impression that I'm trying to mooch, vinyl off of them. So I kind of accepted defeat, and I went on to Bull Moose and picked up the fixed copy. So that was a very weird sort of, time frame of just getting, wrong copies and, faulty stuff. It was weird. But anyways, this one, Killer, is pressed on red translucent vinyl with Flexa Black, which looks great. And this also replicates the calendar that the original copies received, which I will showcase here. And this was the cool part. I mean, this is the stuff that I like, that Rhino does. They go that mile to include not just any calendar, but the 1972 calendar, which this, I believe, had come out at the tail end of 71 or just right in the beginning of 72. So that was cool that they replicated that calendar of just Alice hanging around. And then with Easy Action, like Love It to Death and Praise for You, we have a nice heavy-duty gatefold sleeve that opens up, and there's pictures of the original band there. And this one was pressed on gold vinyl, which is really cool. Kind of matches the gold covers that the band's wearing on the backside. So that's cool, and it's kind of interesting too to see what colors match like the color scheme of each album. I think it's interesting how Rhino goes about that. And then we jump to the Back to the 80s campaign. Now, unfortunately, the 3 albums that they reissued for this campaign, I currently do not own. Actually, as of filming this video, I placed an order for Flush the Fashion. So I should be receiving that at some point. But the 3 albums that they reissued for this campaign were Flush the Fashion, Zipper Catches Skin, and Dada. So it's that weird 80s period where, I mean, it's gone on record that Alice doesn't even have recollection of ever, writing or recording those albums. So that period is very interesting to me, so I kind of want to see what those albums are all about, and I do plan on getting them. Flush the Fashion was pressed on marbled green vinyl, Zipper Catches Skin is on clear vinyl with black smoke, and then Dada is on orange vinyl. So hopefully I should be receiving those very soon, because they are still available as of filming. And then we get to Rocktober of 2018, and we get a reissue of Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, which comes with a printed inner sleeve with perhaps my favorite header of all time. Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, parentheses, a bedtime story. Gotta love it. And this one is pressed on orange vinyl, which is really nice. Very vibrant, too, I must say. Also, I should mention, starting from the Back to the 80s stuff onwards, it is not specified how many copies of each album has been made. So, marketed as limited, but how many, we will never know. Unless word gets out on how many copies. And then there was also Lace and Whiskey. That was pressed on whiskey brown vinyl. I currently do not have that album right now, but I do hope to get it at some point very soon. And then we get another knock out of the ballpark with Rhino. And this and Billion Dollar Babies are tied as to, the best reissues that were done the right way. This is From the Inside. This is the concept album of when Alice went to the sanitarium for his alcoholism. Definitely pre-Betty Ford period. So then you open up the cover, And you have all the inmates there, all the loonies. And then when you open up this door, there's Alice, which is pretty cool. And then same thing with the back cover, which is like the back way of the asylum. You open it up, and they've all been released. And then you have the credits on the sides of the doors. And then just like that, you also have the printed inner sleeve, which features the photos that you see when you open up the little gadgets on the cover. You have all the lyrics as well. And then this one was pressed on kind of like dark green kind of vinyl with black flecks as well, which is really, really nice. And then, as of most recently, for Start Your Ear Off Right 2019, we got a reissue of Alice Cooper's Greatest Hits. This is a compilation which has all the singles that the band put out. This came out after the band had pretty much broken up. So it's a pretty good recap of all the big notable songs that came out within that early period. This comes with a printed inner sleeve. And then you also have the album pressed on a really nice piece of silver vinyl, which looks fantastic, really, really sharp. And as of filming this video, that is all the reissues that are out. Right off the bat, the albums that have not received the reissue color vinyl treatment is School's Out, Muscle of Love, and the live album, The Alice Cooper Show. Now, I could definitely see them doing something very special for these albums in terms of the way that they were, how they were released first, such as, you know, School's Out coming in the fold-out desk kind of cover, and the record being packaged in a pair of panties. Muscle of Love being packaged in a cardboard box. So who knows, maybe Rocktober of 2019 we might see reissues of those, or maybe we'll see special standalone releases of those. Who knows what they'll do, but regardless, when they do them, I will be very excited to see how they look. In terms of mastering engineers that worked on these reissues, these were done by Chris Bellman, Ian Sefcik, and Ron McMaster. These were also pressed at RTI, MPO, and Record Industry. And in terms of the source audio, some albums actually state that they use the analog masters. Even on the hype sticker for Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, you probably cannot really read that. I don't know if you guys can, but it actually says, cut from the original analog master by Chris Bellman. I'm sure maybe they use digital files for some of the other albums. I mean, who knows? It doesn't really list like what they used and whatnot. But to my ears, these albums sound absolutely fantastic. And the cool thing about these is that they're actually still readily available. You can probably likely find them at your local record store. One online retailer I do recommend is bullmoose.com. They actually go as far as to offer pre-orders for the Rhino limited releases when they come out, and usually after the pre-orders they'll still offer them for sale on their website for a very good price. And most averages, like, these go for anywhere between like $15 to $20, so it's a really like amazing bang for your buck. Discogs also sells them as well. There's all kinds of sellers that offer them around that same price point, $15 to $20. The only one that's going to be pretty hard to come by is Billion Dollar Babies. This is now going for like $150, $200 maybe. I'm not quite sure. It's going for a very high price tag. And I can kind of understand it because, I mean, yeah, limited to 3,000. And this is the album that I think everyone's going to go after because it has all the hits on it and it's the most notable one. And it's crazy because back when I worked at FYE, we got this album in, and this is, obviously, this is the copy that I picked up at the store. I only paid $25 for this, so it's really amazing how the value of something like this really goes up after some time. It's really crazy. But like I said, for the most part, you can still get these, and I do highly recommend them if you're an Alice Cooper fan, or if you want to get the catalog. these will suit you very well. So that right there is what I think of the Alice Cooper vinyl reissues. Question for you guys. What do you guys think of them? Do you guys have these? Are you tempted to pick them up? Please let me know down in the comment section below. I'd love to know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the record spinning.